So I'm out here in the peak of British summer. Yes, this is the 1st of June, very pretty. And I came out here to get some insights for videos. And I've come out quite far, I'm soaking wet. And the one insight that fully came to me was about psychedelics. And this is because I've had an extreme amount of experience with them at this point. For the past 4 years, I've tried various psychedelics, from mushrooms to LSD to DMT, in very high doses, in low doses, in microdoses. And I thought I'd make this video to bring some awareness if you are interested in trying it, and also a word of warning. Because the amazing thing about these incredible kind of anomalies in nature, which are totally natural, are the experience can be so incredible that it can be difficult to then get in touch with this human experience once again, which is what happened to me personally. I think I've had about 500 plus trips now, which is a lot. And most people will have kind of under 30 if they do a lot. So I have done a lot of these. And what it taught me was, first of all, you have a journey. You have your life journey, which is incredibly sacred and incredibly important, as is your psyche and your mental health. And the thing about these incredible substances is they will teach you exactly what you need to do by removing all of the obstacles, by removing all of the kind of human hedonistic ego constructions, and they will wipe that away. And if you manage to go with it, if you manage to be able to sit with it long enough and actually understand what the experience is trying to tell you, then they will teach you to just be. They'll teach you to kind of come away from what you were doing and actually see the present moment properly. They really are a cheat code to meditation, but they are not a replacement. I have learned this the hard way through having kind of mind and earth-shattering trips where I disconnected with myself for so long that it was actually very difficult to reel myself back together. And especially with these things, if you're taking them more than once every 6 months, then you're doing something wrong, because these have a significant impact on your life and they take a very long time to stitch yourself back together and get along with normal day life again. For me, I was tripping sometimes once a week, sometimes multiple times a week with various different substances, and this really altered my consciousness, but it's too fast. The point of doing this is you do this over the course of your life and you take the journey very sensibly. You take it slow and you take it one step at a time. Just like with any other lesson in life, you would take it one step at a time. And you don't rush it, you be gentle with yourself, you have compassion. What I was doing is I was starting to chase the experience. And also what the experience may teach you is an extreme level of delusion. And this delusion comes in the form of going, oh my God, if I can trip this hard, then I can go further and I can go further. And that is an absolute trap, because this is nothing to do with tripping. That is just purely addiction to the experience. And I've seen so many people go through it. And it kind of gets boring at this point to explain that, first of all, if you're going to do a drug, it will affect you in a very extreme way. It will. These are not toys. These are not just fun experiences. These are literally life-changing, complete and utter, earth-shattering experiences, okay? So, this isn't to put you off. If you want to go and source this stuff and find it in your own time, you know, that is your journey. But be extremely careful. Because I was listening to people telling me this very thing at the very start, because about 5 years ago is when I wanted to dabble in this stuff, and my whole life I was actually very scared to do this. And then I managed to have my first experience 4 years ago, which was incredible and very gentle and very nice. But then I got on the bandwagon of kind of going from one thing to the other and another. And people say these things aren't gateway drugs. They absolutely are. Because once I tried one, I wanted to try them all. And believe me, I've tried almost all of them. And it gets to a very slippery kind of slide when you start trying these things. So for me, weed led to LSD, LSD led to mushrooms, mushrooms led to DMT, DMT led to ketamine, ketamine led to kratom, and the list goes on. And these experiences, are absolutely mind-fucking sometimes. And a lot of the time, I think especially for beginners, if you go and take a big dose, which I thoroughly recommend you not to do, if you're going to do this, disclaimer, start very small and work your way up and go with what's comfortable. And if you are feeling like you can handle this, then you can go to this, and then you can go to this. But do not go and blow your mind to pieces, because that is what will happen if you go and have a ridiculous dose, say 5 grams of mushrooms on your first time. That might actually shatter your reality and leave you depersonalized for a very long time, which is what happened to me. My example of this is me and my friend, after doing lots of acid trips, we then did 8 tabs of acid as kind of an irresponsible kind of joke between us that, we're going to have this crazy God experience and all of this. And all it did was it shook me up, and it stopped me from being able to do kind of my basic functions in life for about 2 years. And I'll tell the story another time, but this story has been told across the world, and quite a lot of people know this story. It's quite a viral story, and it's kind of spread around and be told between other people. But it is nothing I'm proud of doing, and it is nothing that I would recommend doing. In fact, it was incredibly stupid and irresponsible, and that is not what these things are for. So please take great care with yourself, because you are not a kind of computer that can be fixed. If you lose it, it may take years to get back on your feet. For me, I had this acid trip 4 years ago, and I've been building myself ever since. And through this process as well, so I've got little bits of the fucking wilderness all over me. I don't know how blurry this camera is right now. Anyway, for me, it took 4 years to actually regain my motor functions properly, to understand myself and my psyche properly, and to actually realise what my trips were about for a very long time. And what my trips were about was simply cutting off bad people, recognising and looking at trauma and doing something about it, say get therapy and understand it, get the emotional vocabulary to deal with it and see when it comes up. And other things were just who I was and who I was acting like as a person. Who was I in this world, and what was I contributing to, and what was I not contributing to? So there is an incredible amount of things you can get from these, but I was getting the same message more or less every trip. Of course, in very different ways and kind of different palettes, depending on what thing I experienced it on. But it was more or less the same thing. And I've seen so many people fall into the trap of getting a spiritual ego, which is when they genuinely believe they are kind of above other people, but in a loving way, and that's not what it is. All this taught me is we are the same. I am the ground, I am you, you are me. Everything is the same thing, it is one. It just is. And when you come to this realization, it can be extremely terrifying. And to me, it was, and it made me depressed for quite some time. About 3.5 years to be exact, I've been in this very strange existential depression. And fortunately, I feel I am absolutely on the road to recovery now. I am in extensive therapy, which is fantastic. It's psychotherapy to be specific. And also kind of moving in a way through life which I recognise now is selfless. and trying to do good things. Whereas before, I was in survival mode for actually years, and kind of every man for himself kind of mentality. And this led to really selfish kind of thought patterns. And it's something that a couple of girlfriends had actually reflected to me before, and I didn't understand because my ego couldn't take it. But after taking a massive step back and going through therapy and understanding myself better, and actually understanding the mechanisms of the universe and understanding people and psychology, I've come to some great realizations which have shown me that, first of all, it's a very rare kind of need that you would actually need to do this stuff. This stuff will find you when it finds you, and everything that happened in my journey was supposed to happen. This is just how it works. I was supposed to go through these things in order to be here, and that's fine, but it was a real rough ride, is what I'm saying. And there's a lot of people that might just be able to handle it a lot better than I did, but there's also a lot of people out there, which could be you, that doesn't handle it as well. You know, there are people that I was warned when I was about 9 years old about these in a basketball court in Menorca. Someone said to me, someone took magic mushrooms and they went and jumped off a building. And I always had this in my head, in my psyche. And once I started doing this and started understanding what these things actually do, it's not that they're going to drive you to do something stupid. It's that maybe you can't handle what you're actually experiencing. And it's so terrifying that perhaps you do go and do something stupid. And this is where it goes wrong. There's a lot of young people that take this stuff. There's a lot of people that think this is a party drug, and it is absolutely not. And a bad trip is not just a bad 5 hours or 24 hours. This can leave you scarred for years. So, bear this in mind. I still have extreme PTSD from my trips that I've, especially the 8 tabs one, years later. And it's something, if I could take it back, maybe I would, but I can't. So I live with it and I deal with it. And I knew what I was signing up for when I did it. I knew it was stupid and I knew it was incredibly dangerous. But at the same time, I also didn't have any fucking idea what I was signing up for when I went into it, because what I experienced was so profound and so shocking. It's really changed the way I look at the world forever, and I can never unsee what I have seen. And so my journey now is about trying to be human again. It's about trying to reconnect and love in an actual real way, which I haven't done for absolutely years, and find my feet in the world and find my place and find what I want to do. But this has taken so long. It's kind of ridiculous. So I just wanted to put all of this out there. And again, this is no deterrent to not do these things, but I am also not preaching this as a good idea. Because if this stuff happens to find you and you feel it's right for you in your life, that is your responsibility. But you have to understand, first of all, what you're taking and the significance of what you're taking if you do. Because there are some people that might just grab a couple of tabs of LSD or even a dripper, and you don't know how strong that'd be. That literally could be a 24-hour trip for you where you have no awareness of your human body anymore and you are on another planet. I've experienced it before, and this was actually amazing that this happened. I couldn't believe this happened. I was at a really special place in Denmark a couple of years ago, and I was surrounded by some really wonderful people that I trusted, and a lot of people were doing LSD on this particular occasion. And I had this LSD, it was liquid LSD, and I had this trip that was so strong, I couldn't even believe it. The visuals were not scary, but my visual perception was so confusing. I was tripping the hardest I've ever tripped. I was looking at the floor, at the tiles in a bathroom, thinking I was a skyscraper in New York City, completely unaware of who I was anymore. Couldn't even tell you my own name. I looked in the mirror in a bathroom as I went to pee, and I thought I was talking to a beautiful woman and literally thought I found the love of my life, until I realised that, oh fuck, I'm talking to a mirror. And even I was sat around having conversations with people. It turns out I was in an empty room full of cushions and bedding, and I thought the moving things were literally people. So, this stuff can really fuck with your mind. And to come down from this, I had ketamine, because ketamine does something very different. It will kind of find its way into what you need, and it will kind of do what it needs to do. So I asked the trip to end, the ketamine brought it to an end, and it solved my LSD problem. But then hours later, someone offered me a weed edible. It was a little gummy bear, it was half of one. I ate that. About 45 minutes later, the trip had skyrocketed into an extent where I had to go to bed, and I was basically, I'd really lost my mind. I was kind of ticking and giggling and shouting out just gibberish, and I knew I was doing this, and I knew luckily the people around me were far older than me. These were people in like their 40s and 50s, and luckily they've all been through this. So I literally had people going like, oh my god, like I hope he's going to make it till morning kind of thing. And I genuinely thought this trip was going to last about 3 or 4 weeks. I was thinking, how on earth am I going to tell my boss what the fuck I've done? How can I get home on the plane, because I'm going to be in a catatonic state? And this is ridiculous. And this is not the only time where this has happened to me. This happened many times. And so this particular trip, I woke up in the morning, I looked at my hands, and I could not believe the trip was over. This is how profound they can be. And I just felt absolutely lucky to be alive, because I could not even see the human world anymore. And again, this has happened before, and I've been in better states to handle it, but I was in a different country with brand new people, and no way of knowing if I could actually make it home. So it was extremely distressing. But that's just one example, and I'll probably in other videos I'll go into other trips and what I've learned from them, and perhaps kind of repeating patterns that I've seen in certain timings. But with this, I just want to give that word of warning and just say something from my perspective and share it. And again, this is so significant. It's taken me a long time to reel myself back in. So it's exciting. It's super exciting to just be back and sober. And I've been sober now for about 7 months. I've tried to stay away from alcohol. I quit weed. I quit all of these psychedelics a very long time ago. And even now, 7 months on, I'm still only just learning the ropes of how to be normal again, and how to enjoy life, and how to experience, and how to just actually have fun and be a normal person, rather than going, oh my god, I need to realise this thing about the universe, and I need to go further, and I need to understand this. Because I was just pushing, and I didn't see any point. And this is why I warn you, I didn't see any point in being human anymore. I had no idea what the point of being me was. And this isn't some suicidal kind of spiel, but I would never kill myself. But I genuinely had no idea I was like, what the fuck do I do? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't know anymore. And I think this is where people do turn to suicide, because literally I was at a point for 3.5 years where I was just like, I don't get it. Why have I been spawned into this game? This is just frustrating and annoying, and I hate it. Why am I here? And luckily, when I got sober again and everything kind of came back together, I was able to go, all right, you've been kind of cooped inside like a caveman, a hermit for so long. Now we can just venture outside, and we can go and live and experience life again. Go get some more stories. Go and do some more fun things. Because that's the thing, I was so hooked on this kind of venture that I completely neglected normal life. And so now I have a stable routine. I'm extremely happy, and I'm exploring. I'm about to set off on a massive new adventure, which is super cool. And this place out here, this place which I have walked around in, I take walks on this very route for the past 4 years, basically trying to figure out kind of what to do and kind of pondering on stuff. But now the beautiful thing is, for me, it's time to leave. It is time to leave. And I said on this camera many times, because before this YouTube channel I had a second channel which is just my personal diary, which I kind of speak to the camera, and I've never put out any of this stuff. But over and over and over again, I'd come to the conclusion that I need to get the fuck out of here and go and do something with my life and go and do stuff again. And I found that extremely challenging. And it's a bit like being someone that is a recluse and just is scared to leave the house. I've been that, but scared to live my life, which is so strange. And it's because of these trips, by kind of reflecting me so much useful information and so many amazing experiences, that I genuinely forgot the point, because I was so up there, I was so high in the sky and kind of away with the universe, that I completely forgot that, hang on a minute, I'm in this game right here. I've got stuff to do. It's a bit like being in GTA 5 and playing like on a, I don't know, like an arcade machine in the game. You know, you've got this whole game, this whole story to play, and yet you're playing a game within a game. So this was a bit like a game within a game. And getting addicted to these experiences just completely threw me off. And I forgot that I was addicted. And this is the danger. And this is the last thing I'm going to say is, when you're addicted to something, you probably don't know you're addicted. And you probably don't understand that, and I'm just speaking for myself, but I had no idea I was addicted to these things. I had no idea that I had a problem. And whether it's alcohol, whether it's weed, whether it's this stuff, or whether it's behaviour, maybe it's sex addiction, for Christ's sake, like, you probably don't realise. You probably have a kind of niggling feeling that, gosh, why am I doing this in life so much? Or you know, it's taking up a lot of time, or perhaps you haven't gone and lived the life you want to. It's probably because you have got a significant amount of time spending on one specific thing that isn't actually getting you anywhere. And this will take away from a lot of happiness. But now I have a goal and I know what I'm doing. I now have a place to go. I have a thing to do, and that's just going to take a bit of time and dedication. But that discipline will roll into it. It's like the last 7 months, I had to literally go right back to basics. I had to move. I had to change the way I eat. I changed the way I shower, changed the way I sleep. I changed the way I dressed, like absolutely everything. I changed the relationship with myself completely in order to become someone different. And fucking hell, man, it is absolutely unbelievably hard, but it is absolutely unbelievably doable. And you are fully capable of doing this, and fully capable of realizing the change you need to do. So with that said, I hope this helps. I will be making videos on this again in the future, and just other insights, but you know, we're hitting we're hitting a long time in this now, and I sometimes don't know when to stop talking. So yeah, I hope you find this helpful in some way, because this advice is just not me. It's not me just nattering on. This is absolutely serious. And if I'd have seen a video like this before I'd have started, or even during the journey, I wish I did, and I didn't. I saw a couple of people that sort of just went, you know, be careful, or, you know, don't take this stuff lightly, or or, but no one warned me to not go full deep dive into this and not stop. Nobody. It was only the people around me, when this stuff had already kind of gained momentum, that they went, maybe you should lay off this shit, because you're not doing very well. That's the only time I realised. So, yeah. With that said, we'll leave the video here. Yeah. be careful, be brave, live long and prosper. And go with your fucking gut.